Hey everyone, we've got a bit of an interesting episode in store for today. So let's just get right to it. Good morning and welcome to episode number 78 of the All Around Growth podcast. This is a show where we talk about how and why we build the lives of our dreams during the morning commute to work, even on the chilliest and frostiest of mornings. My name is Rob Kaiser, and I am your host. I've got to get this windshield defroster on full force while I make my way down the long driveway so I can actually see where I'm going. But this is how we do it in the Midwest. It's not that bad this morning. It didn't freeze too terribly last night. Temperatures are actually above freezing right now. For those of you who are unaware, I am located in Northeast Ohio, and in this show, like I said, we talk about the how and why of building the lives of our dreams. And we do so utilizing a particular type of personal growth and development referred to as all-around growth. I have no particular agenda for this morning's show. And today is it's Thursday, January 7th, 2021. And like I said, I've got no particular agenda because it seems as though we live in a world where everyone has an agenda. Everyone. And now, with what has gone on with regard to the election of the President of the United States of America and the President, the current standing President of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump. And the events that occurred yesterday with people protesting in and around D.C. and some groups of people storming the Capitol. I watched a woman die yesterday. I've never watched a human die. And, throughout the course of history, in this country and other countries, but let's stick to this country. There have been measures put in place to ensure that certain controls are there for if or when a president needs to be removed from office, how to settle contested votes, so on and so forth. Things just... measures have been put in place, right? And I made the mistake of looking at social media this morning, and I made the mistake of watching a lot of this last night. Well, I don't know if it was a mistake, because I wanted to stay informed. So I was tuning in to 4 different live streams to get some shared perspective, or to get some different perspectives rather. Now, some of them were obviously going to be shared because they are from the mainstream media, and you know, oftentimes the narrative of the mainstream media is, well, it's similar because it's controlled. So I made sure to tune into some alternative media. And then to top it all off, I tune into the social media. And this is interesting because in the spheres of social media, everyone is now a legal expert. Everyone has studied history, and everyone knows what to do and how we, or they, should proceed. Because no matter what we want to think, there is a tremendous degree of separation between the ruling class and you and I, my friends. There is a tremendous degree of separation between the ruling elite and the class of the taxed wage slave. All right. And I don't have an agenda on this show. This morning, because I don't particularly have an agenda, period. Whereas everybody else has got an agenda. Everybody else is a legal expert. Everybody else has got an opinion. And if your opinion differs from theirs, then you're wrong. You know, Ben Shapiro has got this saying, and you can look it up and find memes galore about it. And it's, facts don't care about your feelings. And, oof, rough tracks. I am on a different way. I'm not headed to work. I am headed to sign some checks at church. But, yeah, Ben's got this shirt there are some memes. I've seen it in the form of a t-shirt. It says, facts don't care about your feelings. And I guess we live in a world where when it comes to social media and things of this nature, the saying should be more like, opinions don't care about your facts. You're wrong. So, the most concerning or challenging thing about all of this is I suppose that this is just how people are. I mean, I want to say different, but I'm afraid I can't. I think, you know, we've grown to govern the lowest common denominator in terms of how, you know, the ruling elite navigates throughout this world and controls the population. It has to be done in a manner that's okay. I'm going off on a tangent, and I want to put a positive spin on this. I guess I began to develop these belief systems about, the, dare I say, nefarious nature of government approximately 10 years ago. And over time, those views and beliefs have changed and evolved. And I ran the gamut with my belief system in politics from voting Democrat to not necessarily voting Republican, but leaning that way to the point where I voted Libertarian. And then I was actually a card-carrying member of the Libertarian Party. And then simply stopped being a member, stopped paying my dues, politely unsubscribed from their email lists and asked them to take me off of the list when the unsubscribe didn't seem to be effective, and went about the process of continued going about the process of changing my life. And, I've got no agenda on this episode today, because this episode follows a day where we all observed something quite profound, and I don't know what it was, and I'm not even going to attempt to take sides, and I'm not even going to attempt to pretend like I know anything about history or law. What I'm going to do is continue down the life path that I've forged for myself over the past few years. And that is most eloquently defined, at least the goals and objectives of this were most eloquently defined by Toby Hemingway when he referred to this theory, I suppose you could say, called permaculture anarchy. And that's maybe one, and that's also just one aspect or one element of what I wish for in my life, and that's just to continue to develop and learn how to effectively manage my own life without being dependent on another for my income. And I'm learning how to do this, I suppose, while doing exactly that, relying on someone for my income, because that's the least stressful, most dependable thing that I can do to mitigate or eliminate my consumer debt while working towards my savings goals. It's the most efficient thing I can do, and the least stressful thing I can do while figuring the rest of this out. Okay? And I am more interested in connecting with people who view that as a worthy goal, because when we begin to develop a lifestyle and live in a manner that gets us headed in that direction, we begin to not just embrace the concepts of freedom, but we truly begin to live in a free way, as a free man or a free woman, free person, dependent on yourself. And I think that this is the beginning of a larger change in mindset about the government and its role in our lives as we become entirely self-sufficient for our income and everything that supports us. Now, that's a lofty goal because I've never done that before in my life, and I'm nowhere close to doing it right now. And when I think about this, I have a tendency to waffle on it back and forth quite a bit. You know, do I want that? Do I not? Do I want that? Do I not? But I had a Zoom call last night, thank God, to interrupt the insanity of the live streams that I was watching. And during that Zoom call, well, the reason for that Zoom call was at this point in time, I work with a financial coach. Contact me for details if you're interested. It can do it all virtually. And I used to meet with him monthly. Then I met with him quarterly. Now I meet with him twice a year, in January and June. And last night was our meeting, and we went over some goals and how the goals were met, and setting some goals, and changing my financial strategy, talking about investing versus saving, and how I'm going to mix it up a little bit. Even though I'm not entirely comfortable with it, I'm going to mix it up a little bit and start investing some of this money that I have instead of just socking it all away in savings. And you know, the reason for that is to, you know, Joe talks about retirement, but I continue wanting to not necessarily work towards a life that allows me to retire, but I want to create a life where retirement isn't a desire of mine. And what I mean by that is, if I can get to a point where I can have multiple streams of income coming in, you know, start up a little business here or there, turn it over to someone else, continue operating in a manner that allows and facilitates profit without my direct involvement all the time, and do that in multiple different ways, now we're cooking with gas. I'm empowering other people, creating more freedom and flexibility for myself, and basically living a life that allows me to not want to get away from it. It allows me to live a life that I could continue living until I died doing the very thing that it was that incentivized me to live in the first place. I think that's what's up. And I wish that more people would embrace an attitude like that and a mindset like that to actively work towards changing their life, because I'm fairly confident that if they were to do that and focus on that, it would allow them to have something healthy, positive, and beneficial to focus on, instead of focusing on the agendas that the ruling elite wishes and wants us to focus on, because that is the very thing that keeps us divided from one another. And what we all need to do is simply embrace peace and love and an attitude of gratitude as we continue working towards a lifestyle of personal growth and development, and beyond that, a lifestyle embracing the concepts of all-around growth. Well, I hope that this episode was a valuable use of your time. And if you think it was, simply go to the show notes, and at the very bottom of the show notes, you can click to rate and review the podcast. That link will take you to Apple Podcasts, where you can give a quick 5-star rating, and if you feel so inclined, you can follow up with a written review. And if you have a question or any feedback for me on this episode, or anything that you'd like to hear in a future episode, you can send that my way at allaroundgrowth@gmail.com. And last but not least, I'd like to encourage you to join the community. We've got a small but vibrant community on Telegram Messenger, and you can connect with us on your desktop computer or your laptop via internet browser at t.me/allaroundgrowth. Or if you've already got the Telegram Messenger app on your phone, you can search for All Around Growth there, and you will find us. Well, thank you for listening, everybody. I sure do appreciate it. And again, I'd like to encourage you to check out the community. Thank you for listening to this podcast. Thank you for taking the time to make healthy, positive, and beneficial change in your own life, because we can't make change in the world until we begin to change our own. This is Rob Kaiser, and you've been listening to the All Around Growth Podcast. Thank you, and make it a great day.